All right, we're on the Hellion Rocks on Bleachbags Radio. We've got a special guest with us today, Michael Sweet from Stryper. How are you, sir?
I'm good. How about yourself?
Excellent. We're here in New Mexico dealing with the Arctic tundra, man. It's like 7 degrees here, snow. Not what you normally expect, but we're dealing with it.
Well, hey, man, we're dealing with wind and rain and all sorts of nice stuff, fun stuff. It's calming down a little bit now, but hey, we're surviving.
That's it. That's all we can do. I'm really excited to talk to you. You've got a brand new record out on Frontier Records, and it's awesome, I got to tell you.
Well, thank you, man. We worked hard on it, and we always try and strive to make each album better. I think we accomplished that on this. I think it's getting better and better, and I'm hoping the next one is even better than this one. That would be amazing. We've been able to see the fruits of our labor, like we just wound up releasing it on November 5th, and it actually outsold any album since '05 2-1. So it's really cool to see that, especially in a declining, sales period that we live in. It's really cool to see our album selling more, and it feels remarkable.
That's good. Yeah, the album we're talking about, it's No More Hell to Pay, just came out November 5th, and the buzz around it, in all music communities is really good. So I'm glad for you that, in this day and age, it's happening for you.
Yeah, we are too, man. We're excited, and there's a lot more to come. I mean, we've got big plans. 2014 is going to be, a lot of touring. We have the live album we just recorded out at the Whiskey. That's going to be coming out in 2014, DVD as well. And I got this George Lynch album I'm producing and co-writing with George that's going to be coming out in 2014, and a solo album and a book that's coming out in 2014. So I think 2014 is going to be crazier than 2013 was.
Nice. One of the things about Stryper that is, that I find amazing is the consistent lineup. You've only had a little bit of change on bass, but it's pretty much the same guys, which is awesome, in the music industry.
It really is, man. I mean, we've had some differences over the years, and Tim wanted to pursue some other things, and we wound up going our separate ways, not only back in the early days, but, most recent, around 2003 into 4. We brought in another bass player, and we did it with him for a while, and then we wound up, reforming with Tim and bringing him back in, and that was in '09, and we've been going ever since with Tim. And there's no signs of stopping. And there's something to be said for the original lineup with any band. It's really a special thing and a claim to be able to make when you have the original lineup, and we do. So you can maybe count bands that do in our genre on one hand. It's kind of cool.
Right. That's another thing about Stryper, I've seen you guys play. I've only got to see you guys play once, and the majesty of your show, the playing, everything, it's a magic moment. So I have to thank you for the time I did see you guys play. And you're always, I've seen live videos, I've talked to other people that have seen you and known you, and that's what they walk away from a Stryper show is a feeling of.
That's awesome, man. Well, we give our all. We put it all out there, man, on the stage, and we go out there and we try to put on an energetic show and play to the best of our abilities. We make mistakes, left and right, but
yeah.
I mean, it's all about the energy and engaging the crowd, and we do, and we love it. We love performing, and we view every show as if it's our first show, and try to view it as, it's an honor and a privilege to be able to perform,
That's glad. I'm glad you've got that attitude. So many people in today's industry, they don't give their all to the fans and stuff. It's just reaching out and making the fans feel part of the show is very important. You've got to draw them in. I think that the band on stage takes its energy from the crowd, and then the people love feeling like they're a part of the show. And I got that when I saw you guys, and thank you for that, man.
Well, they are. I mean, they are a part of the show, and without our fans, we wouldn't be here. we would not be here and be a band. And so we owe all to them. We really do. And we love our fans, and we, like I said, we want to engage them and bring them in and make them a part of what we do, not just the show, but like this latest album, we got a lot of feedback from people and took it to heart. Like, hey, why don't you guys do more of this and go back to your roots and do more guitar solos and do more screams and this and that. And we did that. We listened to them and put it on this album.
Nice. I've got, before we get further into this, I've got a fan that really, really loves you guys. His name is Simon Arnett, and he actually wanted me to ask you a question. And he said he wanted me to ask you how it was playing with bands who don't share your Christian viewpoint, and how you deal with that.
We just go and do it. I mean, we don't really view it as, oh my gosh, we got a tough day coming up today because we're playing with so and so, and because we grew up on Sunset Strip and with all these bands, and then we just decided to take a different path. So many times we're actually seeing our old buddies, and it's. Mm-hmm. We know a lot of the people in mainstream bands that aren't Christian bands, and we hang out with them, and we're friends with a lot of them. So it's really just another day. And I don't say that lightly or disrespectfully, but it is. We don't get all worked up or nervous over it. That's for sure.
Nice. That's kind of what I was hoping that you would answer that to. And I've never I think that if we treat each other like brothers, like we all should, and we shouldn't let things like that get in the way of us, it'd be a whole lot better world.
Absolutely. I mean, because we're all the same. At the end of the day, yeah, some of us have more money and have accomplished more things and whatnot, but at the end of the day, we're all the same. We all get sick. We're all flesh and blood. We're all born into this world the same way, and we all go out the same way. In terms
right.
of, unfortunately, being put in a coffin and buried in the ground, and it's like no one is any more special than anyone else, although we would like to think that we are sometimes, and that's a little thing called pride, unfortunately, that people have either more of or less of, and I do my best to try to beat that down and have less of, because we're all the same, man. We are truly all the same, and no one's any more special, and we're all brothers and sisters, like you said, and we all matter.
That's the outlook I like to take on people. It's we're here, we're sharing this earth, we're all together, and my viewpoint is that you are my brother as much as my flesh and blood brother is. If we take that time and really care and respect and show our love for each other, things would get a lot better.
Absolutely. And unfortunately, we see less of that, and it's kind of a dog-eat-dog world out there, and people fend for themselves more often than not, and it's sad. It really is. But, we can keep trying to change that, and, I think it comes down to love at the end of the day, and spreading love.
Me too. That's the thing. So, growing up in the Sweet household, what kind of music were you exposed to as a child, man?
Oh, gosh, I was exposed to all different types of music. My dad worked for the railroad. He was a musician himself and a songwriter. Nice. And he would come home and he would play, he loved to play music, man. He had his turntable and he'd play his, 45s and 33s and even 78s. And, he would just play music. And it would range literally from the era of 78s, from opera to, 45s. So a lot of the 50s and 60s singles, Elvis Presley, Jerry Lee Lewis, Fats Domino, and then move into the 33s where he listened to, believe it or not, my dad listened to Sabbath, and which was crazy, but he liked some of their stuff, and Creedence Clearwater Revival, and just this wide range of music my dad listened to, and I think it really helped me as an artist and as a player too, because that's what I grew up on.
Right. I was wondering about the the musical influence that you had. It's similar to what I had. We're basically the same age. And my formative years were that kind of a similar situation. And I just
yeah.
kind
I
of
mean,
gravitated towards.
I grew up on everything. I mean, my dad listened to everything, and I appreciated it and loved it, and country music. And then when the
Yep.
mid '70s got here, I started listening to more rock oriented stuff like Bad Company, Foghat, Cheap Trick, and then I moved into when Van Halen came on the scene. That's when my style and ears wanted more of the heavy stuff, and I started listening to Van Halen, Priest, Maiden, and went more in down that path.
That's exactly. It's funny. What you just said is exactly what I grew up on. So we're similar vein there. In fact, Priest is how I got my nickname. I was at a Judas Priest show on Screaming for Vengeance show, and I made it on stage for all of 5 seconds or something before security threw me off. And it was during the Hellion Electric Eye. And when I hit the concrete, my friends came over and said, "Hey, dude, you're the Hellion," and it kind of stuck.
That's awesome. Yeah, Priest.
That's where we are.
Priest is one of those life-changing bands, huh?
Yeah, absolutely. Got something to say about those guys. One other question somebody had for me was, they heard somewhere you have a 4-octave voice. How in the heck did that happen? Training? Did you just discover it on your own, or tell me about that?
Man, I've never tested it. I have no idea what range my voice is. I know that I have, or I did. I always had a real high voice, and I had a pretty wide range. I don't know if it was 4-octave or 3-octave or what, but I had this capability of hitting some high notes, and I still do to a degree, but my voice isn't what it used to be. I mean, it's changed a little bit. It's gotten a little deeper, a little edgier, a little grittier, and I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing. I think it actually somehow works for me and works in my favor, because my voice was so high and so clear before. So, I think it sounds a little bit more tame now, but I still have some of the range. You can hear it on No More Hell to Pay, and I'm still hitting some of the high notes and doing some of the the acrobatics, vocal things that I used to do back in the day, and it's fun, man, and people seem to like it. That's kind of my signature and who I am.
Well, there you go. That was for Marty, man. He was asking about that. So there you go, Marty. Now you know. And I dig the grittiness in a voice, and I think that you guys sound stronger than ever on that new record, No More Hell to Pay. Really getting into it, really enjoying it.
Thank you, man. I'm very happy to hear that. And so far, that's been the response from really everybody. I haven't really read any terrible reviews. I've read some not as favorable reviews as some of the others, but 9 out of 10, we're getting like 9 out of 10 marks or 10 out of 10 marks, and it's really cool, and especially when it comes from someone that says in the review, "I'm not a fan," or "I never was a fan, but now I am." That's just incredible to read.
That's awesome. That it seems to me that this album for you guys, years later in your career, is almost like a breakthrough record.
It is. It really is. And I've said this multiple times in the past few months. I'll say it again. I really believe that if it had come out after To Hell with the Devil, it would have taken us to a new place. In God We Trust did not, because it was a good record, but it didn't do as well as To Hell with the Devil. It didn't sell as many albums, and it didn't take us to a new place in terms of numbers. But I think this album would have. Had it come out back in 1988. But it came out in 2013, and it is a breakthrough album for us. It truly is. And I believe that it's our best album, the best album we've ever made, for a number of reasons, taking everything into account. I think it's the best record we've ever made, and that's astonishing, 30 years later to see that happen.
That is amazing, and like you said earlier, given the state of the industry right now, it's good to see. It really is. I can't say enough about it.
Well, you know what? Thank you. We've worked hard at it, and we a lot of thought, a lot of work, and a lot of prayer went into it. And the big payoff is seeing people dig it and listen to it and like it and appreciate it. And this is our art, man, and we love doing this. And obviously, even more important than the music is, we want to inspire people through the lyric and through the words. We want people to listen to our albums and walk away saying, okay, I really got something out of that. And I needed that lyric, or I needed that line because I'm going through this, That means more to us even than the music being cool and people digging the music.
That's it. And I think, in today, I interviewed a solo guitarist a while back, and he coined the phrase fast food music. And there's so much music out there that is just made, I think, just to get it out or to give somebody what they think that they want. And the art, you mentioned that art a minute ago. I think the art of music is going away. We grew up, the stuff that we mentioned before, growing up listening to, was made by people for the love of making music. And I get that in your record. I get that, these songs were written from the heart. They were written for the love of what you do, and it shows.
Well, absolutely. And, it is kind of sad because there is a lot of stuff out there, that's just thrown out there, and it's thrown together and put together quickly and not with a lot of thought put into it. And and that's kind of sad because it's cheating the fans, I think. You really are. You're cheating the fans. When you throw a record together and they're waiting on it for 10 years, I won't name names, but, people are waiting on a record and, they're expecting the best and they get, just mediocre at best. That's just not cool. It's not cool. It lets me down as a fan. I'm a fan of mini bands, and when I go check out their new album, and they've been working on it, like I said, for 10 years, 11, 12 years, and you're just listening to it going, what happened? It's obvious that they just threw it out there, and it's a real bummer.
Yep, it is. I got to ask about the new record. Did you guys record this live, or was it done pieced together? I mean, I kind of got a live sense that you guys were all in the studio together making this record.
We were. We actually went in and recorded all the basic tracks together, from the drums, bass, guitars, background vocals. We did all that together as a band at the same time in a 2-week period. We ate and stayed and recorded at the studio, so we didn't go anywhere for 2 weeks. And then I went home and did all the lead vocals at my house, and then went back to the studio when I was done with that, and we mixed the album, myself and Danny Bernini, and that was it. It was turned in. It was a relatively painless project, and it didn't take a lot, man. It was smooth as could be.
I got that organic flow, that the feeling that you can only get from being together in the studio with the other guys. I got that from this record.
Yeah, absolutely, and there is something to be said for that, and it really makes a big difference, huge difference.
I agree 100%. There's just a certain warmth to it that you can only get by looking at the other guys and feeling the energy off of it. Somebody comes in and they're going to play a riff or something, and they might get stoked by seeing the other guy or edged on by the other guy, and you'll get a higher quality or a, like I said, a more feeling performance.
Yes, absolutely, and it adds to the energy. When you're in there working together and creating together and you're having fun, that all translates over onto the recording and onto the tracks.
Beautiful. You mentioned a book. You've got a book coming out. Tell us a little bit about that, man.
I do. I have a solo album and a book coming out together. Been working on it for a long time. It's finally complete, and we're talking now about release dates. We're going to probably announce that relatively soon. I'm excited about it. It's an autobiography. I get into, the ups and downs of my life from the time I was a kid and started playing guitar at the age of 5 to now, and It's really cool, man. I'm excited about it, and it's finally going to come to pass. It's long overdue.
Nice. What was the experience like in writing it? Did you sit down yourself? Did you call in somebody else that was a writer, or how was the process for that?
What I did is I had a friend of mine interview me for about 16 hours, and then he transcribed everything that I said, and then he rewrote everything that I said. So basically, he used what I said and then made it a story, you know.
Nice.
Then he sent that back, and then when he sent it back, it was good, but you know, we basically wound up rewriting it. And that's when I came in, and my buddy by the name who manages me, Dave Rose, the two of us together really wrote the book, going off of Doug Van Pelt, who interviewed me, who's a writer as well. So it was really the three of us who made it happen. And it's been rewritten and then edited like 3 times, and in between my crazy schedule. So that's why it's taken so long to get to this point.
Nice. I look forward to that. I really enjoy, reading the biographies of artists that I liked and loved. You get an insight to them, and to me it just helps me to enjoy them further. So I'm excited about that coming out.
Absolutely, man. Well, you know what? I appreciate it, and I can't wait for it to come out. It's long overdue, and I think people are going to love it.
Cool. One other question that I have, a personal question, is, obviously you and I grew up listening to Boston, and you had a little bit of a run with those guys. How was that, man? Oh, man,
it was really cool. I mean, I was in the band for 4 years and toured with them in '08. And I was supposed to be a part of the new album. That wound up not working out. But I left to focus on Stryper. I just felt like, the Boston thing is so inconsistent. They do albums every 10 years and
right.
tour every 4 years, or you know what I mean? And Stryper's very busy. We just released 2 albums in 1 year, and we tour every year. So there's so much going on, and it's getting more and more busy, so I needed to focus on that. So that's why I left. And, I wish them well, and it's Boston. Obviously, they're going to be just fine. And I do feel that I brought a lot to the band. I think I brought a certain level of energy to the band, and read that and heard people's comments regarding that. So that was really cool to see and to read.
That was awesome to see that too. I can imagine, stepping in with somebody we grew up listening to was an awesome moment. So I'm glad you got to experience that.
Absolutely, man. It was cool. It was definitely a once in a lifetime opportunity and a big old pinch me moment, for the entire length of that tour. It was amazing.
Right. So. New record, you guys are obviously gonna be hitting the road for that, man. What's the plans look like for touring?
Oh man, we are gonna be touring heavily next year throughout 2014. I got the book, I got the record, I got the solo book and the record coming out, the solo record and the book coming out, and then a lot of touring with Stryper. We're releasing a live album. I'm producing and co-writing an album with George Lynch. That'll come out next year. So it's going to be a really busy year, man, and just a lot of touring worldwide. We're going to be touring overseas in Europe, South America, Australia, U.S., Canada, and anywhere else they'll have us. And it's going to be busy, man, but we're excited. I mean, we're ready to go. We're going to have a little time off between now and the end of the year, which is long overdue. We've been kind of burning the candle at both ends.
Nice, good. I hope you roll through New Mexico and I can catch the show, shake your hand, and enjoy the spectacle that Stryper is.
Absolutely, man. Well, we always try to, and we're going to be hitting everywhere throughout the U.S. that we possibly can hit, and I hope that it includes your neck of the woods. It'd be amazing.
Nice. I know we're coming up on time. You're busy. I just want to say thank you to you and the music you've made and the feelings you give us, the feel-good feelings. This is going out where our listeners are in 140 countries. I get about 3.5K views a week. The world is yours right now. Give them the message from Michael Sweet.
Well, man, thank you guys for listening and being interested in what we do and supporting us for 30 years. And we can't wait to get out there and see you face-to-face on the road in 2014. And you know what we can't wait for, too, is the future. And there's a lot in store. There's a lot of stuff that's coming, and we're excited about it. We feel like we're in our prime, and we feel like we've got another 30 years to go, Lord willing, if we're around on this earth long enough. But, man, we just want to thank everybody from the bottom of our hearts for standing by us and being there for us all this time. And we go against the tide and against the grain, and we're somewhat of an underdog band. But you know what? All of you have carried the torch, and God bless you for it, man. We're grateful, thankful.
Nice. I want to give a shout out before we go to Kevin from PFA Associates for PFA Media. He set this interview up, so thanks, Kev. Thanks to Stryper. Thanks to Michael Sweet. Thanks to everybody out there that supports rock and roll music. Get out there, see a live show, buy a T-shirt, buy the record. Help these guys continue to make the music that we all know and love. And shake your brother's hand, give him a hug. Tell people you love them. It's the Hellion. Hellion rocks. We're out.